In this episode, we're exploring 4 historic downtown tours. Care for a stroll?
Hello and welcome to Discover Wisconsin.
Originally called Prairie Village, the city of Waukesha is located along the banks of the Fox River. The first sign of industry came in 1838 when a sawmill was constructed along the river to supply lumber for community building projects. From there, the city grew exponentially. In 2012 and 2013, Gibson Guitar Company selected Waukesha for its 8th and 9th worldwide Guitar Town designation to honor the birth and final resting place of guitar legend Les Paul. I kicked off my Waukesha tour at a performance center in Cutler Park dedicated to the legendary musician. Let me start off right up front with Les Paul. Who was he exactly, and what was his connection to Waukesha, Wisconsin?
Les Paul is the only person who is in both the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the National Inventors Hall of Fame, which sort of tells you who he was. He was a gold record performer, and he also was the inventor of the solid body electric guitar and many recording industry inventions.
Wow. You had mentioned that he had spent the majority of his life out in New Jersey, but he decided to be buried here when he passed away, which I think is very telling as to how much this community impacted him, don't you think?
It did. I was very surprised when he told me he wanted to be buried here, and I said, Les, why? You know, it's great, I'm thrilled, but why? And he said, it all started in Waukesha, and the people of Waukesha always supported me. And he said, it seemed logical to me that I should come back to Waukesha. It started here, should end here.
It sounds like he never forgot where he came from.
He didn't. And if people want to know about Les, it's fun to take the tour, but they really should, I would say, start at the Waukesha County Museum so that you get an overall view of who he was and what affected him and how he affected other people. And then I think as you go around the city, you go, oh, okay, that's where that happened, and the pieces will come together for you.
We took Sue's advice to heart and started the Les Paul walking tour at the Waukesha County Museum for the Les Paul experience. From his beginnings in his living room laboratory, experimenting with his mother's player piano, to his work in perfecting what would become the Gibson solid body electric guitar, the immersive exhibit explores the innovative and tenacious spirit of Les. There's so much to see in this downtown with sculptures everywhere you look. And in 2013, the Walldogs made their mark here as well, with their vibrant colors and creative designs, working alongside local artists.
They were a fun group.
Yeah.
And the mural painting was very interesting. As you can see, some of these were painted on panels, not directly on the walls.
Sure.
We are a very old town, so some of the buildings, and this is one of the historic ones with the local land and stone, we wouldn't want to paint on those. They may not be the best surfaces.
Well, and this is one of the more intricate murals I've seen. I mean, there's a lot of detail in this one.
Yes.
And we're seeing the farmer's market, the art crawl, and Friday Night Live here, all on one mural.
Yes.
I love seeing a city that clearly is really embracing its history and also really, just as you said, embracing the art and the music too. You don't always see that, everywhere. It's really cool that it's clearly celebrated here in Waukesha.
Being an artist and a musician my entire life, that's the 2 most important things to me. I've lived here, I'm 4th generation Waukesha, and once I retired, this is what I wanted to do. And it's been very successful. We've been very fortunate.
Les Paul's spirit comes alive in downtown Waukesha in the summer. Each week, Friday Night Live brings out a variety of live music and locals that will line the streets for blocks. I think walking tours are a fantastic way to get to know a city and the people in it. Suddenly, when you're on foot in a downtown area, you kind of take things in at a much slower pace. I had my camera with me the whole time and taking in everything from the people to the architecture to the storefronts to just the scenery in general. I don't know of a better way to take in a town. And I think my favorite part of these walking tours is the people that we've met who are so passionate about telling the story of their community. The interesting history of these locations, the structures, the legends that once walked these roads, that's what we want to learn about. But it's the people who help make these tours and projects possible, who ignite the past and bring it alive for us today.